Okay. Okay. Alright.
Okay, so Star versus the Forces of Evil. Spoilers.
Yes.
Really.
Heavy spoilers. Star, sun, moon, puny star.
Still poor Star.
Yeah, anyway, continue. Spoilers.
So, I mean, I was freaking out over Star versus the Forces of Evil recently. Not because of like, oh my god, you know, like the first time I saw the trailers, I was like, oh, you know, this is pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. And I wanted to watch it for a while. And then, it wasn't until recently, because I was like, you know, there might be something good about this, you know? But I never actually watched it. So then, something came up, I don't know where, but people were talking about it a lot, and they were like, oh my gosh, this, like, it has a storyline, you know, storyline, whatever. And, I was like, oh my gosh, it actually has a storyline, just like Adventure Time, just like, you know, like
Steven Universe. And, like,
eventually,
yeah.
Adventure Time had one.
Adventure Time really kind of like sat in its own like I'm a goofy, wacky, zany cartoon for a while.
Well,
But-
it was for a while, because it was like on Cartoon Random back in the days.
Yeah.
And then,
Cartoon Random.
yeah, no, there were,
Burn.
no, for real. There was like this thing, I think it was on Nickelodeon, right? And it was like Cartoon Random. They did this thing called
Cartoon Network is where Adventure
No.
Time is, isn't it?
No.
Am I wrong?
No, let me explain.
Anyway,
So
yes, continue.
Nickelodeon had this show called Cartoon Random, and it would just be like a bunch of animators putting a bunch of their stuff together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where they basically just like, hey, here's a pilot. It's on TV now.
Yeah. So it would basically just be a bunch of pilots, you know?
Yeah.
And then Adventure Time was one of them. And they wanted to make it a bigger thing, but Nickelodeon didn't want that.
So then, like, just for a while it didn't have a plot, and then it's like, hey, I can have a plot now because I'm selling like absurd amounts of
No, no,
merch
no.
to emo kids. Lol.
Because
Hey, fell.
I don't know what went on. So something happened with it, and like they made episodes on Cartoon Network, and it was like an actual thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then since it was like their show, they were like, oh hey, we can have a storyline to this, you know, or like people started making up storylines. I think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they were like, oh my gosh, you know, that would actually fit, you know, because of like, it's like a post-apocalyptic world and
Yeah.
whatnot. And they're like, oh my gosh, this would fit because I mean, there's a bunch of nukes like on the
Yeah, in the
in
opening.
And then so they went along with it, and now it has like this big storyline. It was crazy. It was wild.
No one.
Until they just kind of went too far with it. Then I saw.
They just like went so far into the storyline that the show like looped back in on itself, basically.
No,
I don't
wouldn't
know.
say that. It's just like there can be too much to something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like soap operas.
I don't know. I think Steven Universe is a little guilty of that too, where it's like you see this random background detail. It was actually secretly foreshadowing.
No. That's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, oh, hey, here's some secrets. But, I mean, like, Adventure Time, it was like, this one thing leads to another thing. But then it also leads to another thing. Oh, wait, no, just kidding, it leads to more.
So they national treasured themselves.
I don't know what you mean, but sure.
Like the Nicolas Cage movie where he's like, I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. And this thing means that, and that thing means this. And they're great movies to watch because they're hilariously, like, just
Bad.
random, convoluted conspiracy theory
I
chains.
hate this place.
Yeah.
But, like, let me think. It's bad. Or it's not bad, it's amazing, you know? But, like, it's to the point where I don't want to watch it anymore. Like, I understand that other people want to watch it. Like,
Yeah.
they watch soap operas and stuff.
It's kind of like Doctor Who for me. Like,
I've never
Just-
watched it.
I just needed to stop with Doctor Who. It was too much. I was like, this is...
Basically, I guess.
Like, I was enjoying it, and then I just, like, got to a point where I'm like, you have done this same
No,
storyline.
but the thing is, like, in the Adventure Time, it was, like, a great storyline where it's, like, Marceline actually knows, the Ice King, and the Ice King was, like, some big stuff happened with the Ice King. You know what I mean?
Like,
and there's a storyline as to why he's crazy and why he's like he
isn't it
is.
because his crown basically makes him like a lich?
Yeah. No.
No? Oh, come on! I was gonna pull out my big nerd muscles here. Come on.
No. Well,
But
the thing
liches
is,
are cool. Anyway,
there
go.
is actually a lich in the show.
Oh
Remember?
yeah. Oh,
Turns
because he's
into a
like.
baby.
Oh, that's not who I'm thinking of. Oh, I'm thinking of Ready Player One. Sorry. I'm like lich, Anorak. Anorak's a lich.
So then, okay, so it like went far. It was like amazing, and it was like, oh yeah, there's like the reason why Ice King is like this, you know? Oh, he met Marceline through the apocalypse, and he took care of her until he went crazy, and he couldn't. It's to the point where he couldn't even take care of her anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, you need to be on your own because I'm going crazy, and it's to the point I can't even live without like my crown. And like the only reason he's alive is because of that crown right now, because he's too old to like take it off or he'll like die or something like that.
Yeah, he'll like turn into he'll lich himself. Like, because if you break the thing that ties a lich to this mortal coil, then all of the aging that item was holding back happens all at once.
I guess. So then somehow it went too far because let me think. What was the example I was gonna give? So it had like this amazing storyline, and then all of a sudden, like it goes to like, oh yeah, Finn, your dad is still alive.
It's like the whole, that's a huge plot inversion thing. Like,
Exactly.
isn't like half of Finn's shtick that he's the only human?
That's what I'm saying. It's like I love that about it. It's like, oh, he's like the only freaking human.
And like they pulled like a switch on you a couple times. Like there was some character. What?
Pause.
Okay. Okay. So, like I was saying, they pulled like a switch on you a couple times. Like they made you think a couple characters were actually humans, and then they weren't. A few times.
No, you know that he's human though.
Oh.
You know, and it's like, oh yeah, you're human, whatnot. And then they bring in his dad for some reason, like, oh Finn, your dad is still alive. He's out there in the galaxy somewhere, you know? And he ends up meeting him, and it's just like his dad's like a bag of
I really wish I could leave that uncensored because that's a great way to describe the character.
Just leave it on.
Like I don't even know anything about the guy, but that's just a great way to describe it.
Just put it. Just be like.
No, just like say say Schween.
No.
Yeah.
No. Leave it. But like in the beginning, like before it happens, just be like.
No.
No, just be like bad word warning.
No, I gotta bleep it out because like. Oh, come on.
Come on, even you know you like that.
Listen, it fits really well, but I also can't, like, just leave it in.
But anyways...
All that quibbling aside.
No, you should just cut that out.
No, maybe they want to hear us quibble. I don't know.
Whatever, okay. So,
Oh, here's that thing we needed to remember. Anyway.
Yeah, we already remembered it.
We didn't dismember it, though.
What was I saying?
You were talking about how Finn's dad is a bag of Schweens?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, whatever. And it was at that point I didn't want to watch it anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And there's like some galaxy thing that talks to you.
They just basically reached like critical twist mass, and you just couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah, it's like this is just I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, that's what happened with Doctor Who for me. Like it just reached critical twist mass. I just couldn't handle it anymore. Like something happened with shoot. Now I don't even remember her name. Like and the last like 2 or 3 companions like blended together for me, and I'm like, and like I can't remember her name because she's like. The one that didn't die, but you thought died. I can't remember her name. But anyway, something happened, and, like, she remembered how she didn't die, but died. Even though, like, it was stated in canon that like it would be impossible for her to live with that fact, and then she was just like, oh, and then she had like a montage of like thoughts for a second, and then like was perfectly fine. I'm like,
Yeah.
We have reached critical twist mass. I can't handle it
That's
anymore.
why I don't watch Adventure Time anymore. It's like, oh, it's trying to add too much. You know?
yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about going back to Doctor Who. If I heard the guy who's writing it right now is like, I'm sick of doing Doctor Who, so if he stops and like someone else picks it up, I might actually start watching Doctor Who again.
It's like then it's like a whole new different person.
Yeah, and it's like you won't.
It's like new insight to this.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like, I was really sad when I hit that moment of like, I can't anymore, because like, I really like the 12th Doctor. He's a really, like, interesting Doctor. He's well played.
Same with me for Adventure Time. Honestly, I like how Steven Universe is planning on only having like 5 seasons.
Yeah.
It's like, it's gonna be hard for it to like be done, you know?
Yeah.
And
Cartoon Network's gonna be real mad. You know, it's like, but they also like recognize they don't want to like paint themselves in a corner with one storyline and be like, well, we need more seasons to sell more toys. Steven isn't the only half gem. Or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that could also happen, like, at least 1/4 gem.
Yeah. I don't know, I think it'd be interesting if, like, to continue the show, if Cartoon Network's like, please, we need more! They just did, like, a huge time skip, and, like, Steven's kid is now the center of the show.
You're kind of talking about the Legend of Korra.
Yes. That's a good analogy for what I have in mind.
It's like, just kind of...
I mean, it's like...
Next Generation.
Yeah, it's like Star Trek Next Generation. Or Legend of Korra. Listen, I haven't watched that much Star Trek, so I can't be maximum over-nerd about it, but...
So Riverside has a lot of Star Trek stuff. I went there just recently, too.
Oh dang, we're out of time. Gosh dang, how do I never keep track of time? See you guys next week.
Bibbidi bibbidi boop.